Is Tabletop Weekly, and we are the partners of Solarian Games. I'm Jason.
And I'm Peter.
And this week we have some stories for you. We have it's a neat little bit here about RPG evolution, why paper is better than pixels. Firefly is coming back, and this time there's a twist. There is a cool new thing called Idols of the Neon Dark that lets you play a K-pop D&D. And Arnold Schwarzenegger is going to be in the new Conan the Barbarian movie. And of course, just a reminder to everybody, ModCon is coming up on May 30th. That is our convention. We're the ones running it. We're doing it in partnership with Steve from TotalCon. This is going to be a convention only for modern era role playing games. So that's any tabletop role playing game set in the 20th or the 21st centuries. And you can go to modcon.games, plural, and you can register right now if you want to run some games. And I think badge sales are open as well. So
Yes, badge
mod
sales, and you can put your games in. You can't sign up for games yet, but that's coming.
right, because we need to get all the ones in that people are going to run so that people don't sign up and they go, I wanted to play something else. We want to get all the games in
Right.
first.
Yep.
It's our first year doing it, folks. Be patient and kind.
Yes.
All right, so hey, this is really cool. I ran across this article on N World. This is by Talion. I don't know who actually is the author here.
It's just a contributor, I
Yeah,
believe.
but it was just a really interesting thing. It's just coming from somebody who is a tabletop role player, and as we all are, and someone who I don't know if it's a he or I'm going to go with they because until I know, I'm going to
I
go with they.
think it's a he because the picture was of look like a guy to me.
We'll go with he.
Okay.
We'll go with he. Thank you. Brian says I sound better. Not 100% yet, but thank you. Appreciate it. All right. So basically, Talion has been playing TTRPGs for a long time and kind of got to this point where he said he was using all the online tools, D&D Beyond, all that kind of stuff. And then he stepped back and said, hang on a second. After all these years of playing this role playing game, I don't think I know the rules because he had been using all the online tools instead of physical books. And as a result, it became sort of a crutch and it didn't lead to actually internalizing the game. And this resonated with me because as a user experience professional, I have been educated in and trained in the ways that people retain knowledge, how we learn, how we understand things. Because part of my job in the UX world is to make items, whether it's a user interface or reading a book or playing a video game or using your car stereo, whatever it is, to make it easier to use. And so there's a lot of principles that go behind it. And one of those principles, I think that's almost at the foundation of it all, is human beings have evolved spatially. Like we think in terms of where things are before we think in terms of what they are. And it's just
Okay.
because go back to our very, 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 very long ago ancestors who were out on the savannah and they were worried about getting attacked by a tiger or whatever.
Hmm.
That tiger's hiding in the long grass. They're off in the peripheral vision. They are not coming out and telling you they're there. So we evolved to notice these things in our peripheral vision and then to remember that area over there is death. So we
Right.
didn't have to have somebody write the word death down on a piece of paper. We remembered that tree over there has got deadly things in it. Be careful. And even to this day, our brains are evolved to the point that when we see where something is, we remember it. And there's even a trick that memory experts like you've heard of these memory competitions where someone will remember like 1,000 digits of pi,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
and you think, well, that's somebody with a really great memory. It's not. They're doing a trick. Um, and they'll tell you they're doing a trick. There's no secret to it. The trick, it's called a memory palace. And what you
Hmm.
do is rather than trying to remember the long string of words or numbers or letters or characters, you instead go into a place in your mind that you know really well, like your childhood house or something, and you take all the things that you're trying to remember and you place them around the house as some sort of as some sort of mnemonics or something. And the reason it works is because our brains really work when we can, it's a lot easier to remember I left a watermelon on the front stairs than it is to remember WFS.
Hmm.
So what this person is basically saying is that when you're looking at a book, it's different than looking on a screen because in the book you remember which page it was on. It was on the left, it was on the right, those kind of things. And also when you are writing things down on paper, you're using your spatial uh, skills again because where you wrote it on the paper, it kind of hops in your head. It's why we've learned that people who take notes by hand remember more than people who type them up.
Yeah.
It's all spatial stuff. So it was just a really interesting thing that this person was saying that they had looked into the research that showed reading on a screen leads to lower comprehension, lower memory retention, and that the digital tools that are out there, they're awesome because you're in the middle of a game, you just need to know what is the effect of this spell. So you type it, you get it, you're good to go. So they're great for that, and people should use them. But if that's the only thing you use, what happens is you don't learn the rules. You just learn to look things up, and then you don't build this mental map of where the rules are located.
Right.
You don't build all the different senses of rolling the dice and being there with the people and flipping through the pages. All those things, it turns out, some people might say, well, I like being around a table with my friends or I like rolling the dice. That may be true. Some people like it, some don't. But objectively, it leads to a more immersive experience when you have all those things with it. So I just thought that was really cool to see that somebody who's more digitally native, as in like this is a younger player, it seemed like somebody who got started when there were online tools and they were kind of discovering, wow, if I go back and I use the analog tools, I have a better time. It's nice to see people rediscovering that.
Yeah, there's, I'll tell you, since we over the last couple of years, my home group who I've been playing with since the 80s, and then we play like every week, and I mean we've missed weeks, of course, but for the most part, every week for how many 40 years or whatever it is. So a couple of the core members of the group have moved out of state, and we've been having to play online. And I have found that I am not remembering things that have happened, as we go through the campaign.
Mm-hmm.
I'm forgetting stuff from like the week before or the week before. It's like, who was that NPC? What did we do last week? And I have a much harder time remembering that stuff. And I'm thinking, well, maybe it's just because I'm getting older, because I'm busy or whatever. But it could very well have a lot to do with the fact that I'm used to sitting at the table playing with my friends in person, and being able to talk amongst each other and hang out in person. So that could have a lot to do with it.
I think that's really true. This is completely anecdotal, and as we know, the plural of anecdote is not data.
Right.
But from my personal experience, it is a lot easier for me to remember. Excuse me. I guess I'm not totally better yet, so apologies to anybody who's listening on headphones who just had me cough in your ear. I am really sorry about that. You can send me a poop in the mail or something. Anyway, it's very easy for me to remember. I can remember all of the in-person sessions that I've played for the past couple 3 years very easily. It's a lot harder for me to remember ones where it's been on a screen because, well, part of it also is novelty, right? When something new happens, and there's a lot more chances for new things to happen when you're around people in person.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also just that spatial thing. I can remember where each person was sitting. I know what kind of food we were eating, what did it smell like, was it warm or was it cold? That all that kind of stuff comes into play in a way that the online game doesn't. So
Yeah,
it turns out that there's more to it than just being more fun to be in person. It's actually a more immersive experience that you remember better.
yeah. There's a couple things to that. For one, words in a conversation are only a third of the conversation,
Right.
inflection being another third, and gestures being a final third. And being that we play over the phone, and we don't, my one friend is technologically challenged, so we don't even play on screen. right?
Yeah.
So I can't even see the other players who aren't there. So I'm not getting the gestures, and
Yeah.
it's just not as good. I'm having
Yeah.
a
You
really
know,
hard time keeping up.
I met this is going to sound like I'm talking out of left field, but I'm not, I promise. I used to take a lot of Greyhound buses when I was young, and I was maybe 19 years old or something. And I got on a bus and I took a long ride, sat next to an Amish guy.
Hmm.
And so you're 19 years old, you're sitting next to an Amish guy for the first time in your life. You're going to ask every question they've probably been asked 100 times before. But to his credit, he was really nice about it. And one of the things that always stuck with me is that he said that the way that they use technology is they're not anti-technology, not by any means. And I was like, okay, that's surprising to me. He
Hmm.
said, no, it's just that what we do is when we see a technology, we get together as a community and we have a talk about it. We say, would this make our lives better or worse? And if we
Right.
think it would make our lives better, we do it. And he's like, that's why we have diesel generators. And that's why, there is a phone in my town, but there's only one because we decided the phone is important because you can call emergency services and you can do other things. You can take orders for your store. But this was the point he made to me. When everybody gets a phone in their home, it seems great at first because now you can talk to people that are far away. But what that also means is now when the kids uh, leave home, they feel like, well, I could move to California or to Pennsylvania or wherever because I can always call. I can call mom and dad. And so what happens is that it causes people to spread apart. The more we have these communication tools, the more people feel like it's okay to live anywhere in the world. And
Hmm.
at first that's nice, but then you wake up one day and you realize you don't know anybody who lives within 40 miles of you. Every
Right.
one of your friends is spread around the world.
Well,
I mean, I'm not going to give up my telephone and go Amish or anything, but I thought it was a really good point that we've gained a lot with all the communication tools in the world. And here we are doing a podcast, but we've lost a lot because we're not in the same room anymore. Like, how often do you just see your friends? So,
right. Right.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this. I'm going to put this on the screen here. Hold on a second. Simon says, good thing about it is not being able to see the guy sitting next to you playing a game on their iPad during the game.
Oh, dude, we do not tolerate that shit. That is not tolerated at
Yeah.
our table. That no, you're if we had somebody in our group that was doing that, it'd be like you needed to put that thing away or you can just go home. Like seriously, we're here to
True,
game.
true confession time. When I got back into playing, after being away for a few years, it was around like 2008 or something.
Hmm.
The iPhone had just come out. It was brand new. And I hadn't played D&D in probably 10 years.
Right. Okay.
And so I'm sitting there, we're playing, and it's fourth edition. And one of the things about fourth edition is it takes forever to be your turn.
Oh god. All right.
So here I am, and true confession, I found myself sitting there dorking around on the phone while I waited the 4.5 hours for it to be my turn again. And yeah, thankfully, my friend who was DMing called me out on it. He's like, dude, just that no, not at the table. And I realized at that moment, oh crap, I'm really disrupting everything by doing this.
Yeah.
And I never did it again. But so now, just like an ex-smoker is militant about not wanting to smell smoke, I'm militant about I don't want to see anybody doing anything at the table that they're not present here for. Just come
Right.
on. If you don't want to be if you don't want to be here playing, that's totally okay.
Yeah.
But leave.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Bleh.
Yeah. All right.
All right. Next story.
Next story. All right. So this story has come up a lot over the years, and it's always been a gag. It's always been a joke. There's always like, ha ha ha, you Firefly fans, we got you again. But this time, it looks serious. Now, I did catch a note. I could not verify 100% if this is greenlit or not. I did come across a note that said it was not greenlit. It's currently being shopped, and network and streaming platforms are considering it. And early concept art and pilot scripts have been completed. But I've also seen where this is a pretty done deal. So
And it's like Nathan Fillion talking
yeah,
about it, right?
yeah. So everybody's on board. See, here's the thing: everybody's on board, and there is a fan base. So I can't imagine in any world that this doesn't happen.
Right.
Right? I mean, everyone's on board, and it's an animated series, so you don't have to get all the actors there together or any of that kind of stuff. So it's
Well, plus you
you
don't
know,
have to worry about how much they've aged.
yeah. Well, that's going to come into play because that is one of the notes I have. So anyway, so the animated Firefly series is in advanced development of 20th century animation, which is cool. Um, the production, it's being produced by Nathan Fillion. He has a thing called Collision 33.
Okay.
And then of course 20th
It sounds like
century
an industrial band from the 90s, but all right.
it does. And 20th century, or
Hey,
I'm sorry,
come
not
down
20th.
and see my band Collision 33. We're gonna be really riveted, man. Yeah, I've got metal on my jacket.
So this is interesting. So 20th television animation. So they got rid of the word century, I guess, because there used to be 20th century, and I guess it must have been a subsidiary of Fox. I have
Right.
no idea, but it's
I guess at some
20th.
point they realized that the 20th century is not going to come back.
Right. So anyway, so the
They couldn't have
animation,
just called it 30th century.
I don't know. I don't know. But and then there's another thing was it's an animation studio. So I guess there's 20th television animation and then this animation studio. I guess it's like when you have all these subsidiaries and stuff, but it's something called Shadow Machine.
Okay.
And they put together
So that's the
BoJack.
Darkwave band that plays with Collision 33.
There you go. Right.
Collision
Maybe-
33 and Shadow Machine. Come on down. You can get free drinks if you get in before 8.
Right. They put together BoJack Horseman, which is like a humongously popular, so
Yeah.
I have a good feeling about this one.
So you're showing the concept art right now. I would hesitate to call that concept art. I mean, it's portraits of the people in the show that look exactly like they look in the show.
yeah,
So, I mean, it is art.
right.
Concept art to me is something that it's like, well, here's the flavor that the series is going to have. Here's some sets, here's some backgrounds, here's some action. This is portraits. They look very nice. I can't imagine that the animation would ever look like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because you can't really animate that. What you're showing on the screen right now looks like photorealistic portraiture.
Right.
And that kind of stuff doesn't animate.
Right. And I mean, that's just the image I found. I don't think there's a whole lot out there.
Oh, no,
yet.
no. This is the only thing that's been released. You're right to do it. I'm just saying, I can't imagine what they think it's going to look like because when they say animation, maybe it could be like BoJack Horseman. Maybe it could be something really stylized. Or maybe it's going to be like a 3D Pixar type of thing. Or maybe it'll be a Disney style. Or maybe it'll be like a Saturday morning cartoon. We have no idea.
Right. And this isn't all the characters either. It says character lineup, but that's not all the characters because I dug into this because, with Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, Alan Tudyk.
His character dies in the Serenity movie, right?
Well, thanks. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh my God, the movie's so old. Come on.
Kidding. I'm just kidding. If I haven't, no, I'm never going to see it.
It's over 20 years old.
I'm not going to watch it. Don't worry.
So it's set between the 2002 Firefly TV series and the 2005 film. So it's somewhere in between those two. So his character can make a reappearance because he's not dead. And there's another character who dies in that who won't be dead, but unfortunately the actor passed away, so he won't be coming back.
Okay. Who's the actor?
His name is Ron Glass. He was Shepherd Book.
Okay.
But he died in 2016, so he's not going to be coming back. And he was a favorite character. Like he didn't travel around with the group. He was sort of the guy at the home base, sort of the heart of everybody, like the quote unquote father figure, the guy I never really got into the show. I saw the movie and I did like the movie a lot. But I never.
I mean, so that's a good question. Like what you do with a character like that. If it's animated, I mean, you could replace the voice actor, but would the fans be mad about that?
Yeah, I think but you could just tell the story without him. He's not somebody
maybe
who
the
travels
rest
around
of
with
the
him.
cast would not want to do that because they wouldn't. Who knows?
Yeah. So the showrunners are Mark Guggenheim. I love that name. And Tara Butters. Now, Mark, he did the show Arrow and The Flash. and Tara did Agent Carter and Dollhouse. So
Cool.
they're successful
I mean, it could be
creators.
great. I
Yeah.
just know this morning I popped on to the socials and I'd been seeing people talking for the past week or two about Firefly coming back because that was the rumor and everybody was excited, like you said, right? And then what I found out this morning, all of a sudden on my feed, there's all these people going, "Ah, I guess I should have known. Well, at least we're getting something." It was not a, it was not fireworks and celebration. It was people going, well, I'd rather get this than not get anything.
Well,
But,
let's talk
but,
about that. Yeah.
yeah, but I mean, maybe they're going to find out that they're happier with it
I
animated.
I would bet money on it. I would bet money on it. You know why? And we'll get into this when we talk about the Conan movie coming. It is super, super tricky for someone to take a property and then, sit on it for 20 years and come back to it. It
Yeah,
almost always sucks. It
yeah,
almost always sucks.
it's very
It's
hard
almost
to do that.
never good. A few cases where it was okay, like the Beetlejuice second
Yeah, I
movie.
never saw the movie. I heard it was okay.
It was okay. It wasn't great, but it was okay. It
But
wasn't
that's the
horrible.
trouble is like you can't just get by with okay,
Right, right.
you
So
know?
I think with the animated thing, it's going to be different enough because it's animated, so they have freedom to go in different creative directions. So they're
Hmm.
not worried about recapturing exactly what they had before. It's already new in a way. So if they do some things that are a little different, that's fine.
Yeah.
You know, and plus, these characters are getting older. It's gonna be kind of hard for them to be doing some of the crazy stuff they were doing in the show.
Hmm.
And for us to accept that they can still do those things. And who wants to watch a show about, it's like, oh, I'm getting old now. I can't do what I used to do. It's like, oh,
Right.
I don't want to watch that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's the
So
same reason I don't. There's bands that I love that were popular in the 70s and the 80s. I'm not going to go see any of them
yeah,
live.
I don't want to go see them again.
Like,
No.
no, I loved this band. I remember what they were like. I'm fine.
And
You
it
know?
and and that is fine. Some people would be like, oh, well, you're not loyal. It's like, no, things have their moment in time.
Yeah. It's
It's
like,
like,
look, Terry Bradshaw is one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. I would not watch a football game if he was the quarterback.
oh God, no. All right.
Well, actually, I would because that'd be hilarious. But you know what I mean. I mean,
Right.
there's just certain things where you have to be like, look, I would love it if we could all do everything our whole lives. I would very much still like to have a chance to be a child prodigy. But
Mhm.
you know what? That's not how it works.
No.
What was I was on one of the British panel shows the other day, and Macaulay Culkin came up as the answer, and they're like, "Yeah, Macaulay Culkin's been having a lot of trouble finding work as a child actor these days."
Yeah, yeah. He is in
Oh no, as a real actor, he's doing
yeah,
great. But
yeah, he's doing
that was
oh,
just a
I see
joke.
what you're saying. Okay.
It's hard to find work as a child actor when you're 45.
Do you know what though? You know what I'm finding? I think I like his brother better.
Kieran,
Kieran? Yeah.
Kieran.
Kieran. Yeah.
We just watched Scott Pilgrim versus the World again.
Yeah.
He is by and far the best character in the movie, Kieran
Yeah.
Culkin. He is so hilarious. The rest of the movie didn't hold up, but he did.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
All right. So one of the things that's really important before we wrap this up and go on to the next thing is that Josh Whedon is not going to be involved in the thing, but
Is that good or bad?
he did give it his blessing. Is it good or bad?
Do people
I
like
don't
him? I don't know if what's the deal with
he's
is
okay.
did he do something weird or something? What's going on?
He got in trouble for being,
Weird?
kind of no, it wasn't weird. It was over like cruel, kind of, like
Ooh.
hard on his just hard on his actors. And
Yeah,
but
that's
see,
never
but
good. You want to
but
be more Jim Henson and less Devil Wears Prada.
yeah, and but to be fair, if anyone's watching this and I'm getting in this wrong, I don't pay attention to that kind of stuff too much. I'm just telling you, like, this is like, take it as fourth hand knowledge. That's what I heard. I didn't dig into it because I don't really care.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
Again, I do like you said the name and I thought I felt like I heard something, but I didn't want to speculate on what it was because I'd be
yeah,
libelous if I said it.
sure.
So
Yeah, he got in trouble for something, and I think
yeah.
it had to do being mean or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever.
Well, be
Um,
nice,
but,
everybody. Be kind.
but that's about it.
Great.
That's it's coming
All right.
most likely.
Speaking of things that are coming soon, this is a cool new game called Idols of the Neon Dark. So we talked, was it last week or the week before? Recently, about another game that is leaning into a genre outside of your usual fantasy, uh, kill that orc kind of stuff. When we talked the other week about the magical girl thing,
Hmm.
and now here is something specifically going towards the K-pop setting. Perfect right now, perfect timing with K-pop Demon Hunters being out and everything like that. This is called Idols of the Neon Dark. Very cool. Now this is concept art. I mean, it's probably actually art in the thing, but that's what I mean by concept art. You get a feel for it. You see,
Oh wait, I
we
got
got
some more.
we got three idols here, swinging their swords around. Let's go look at that again.
Yep.
And yeah, she's dual wielding some swords. I see what looks like a magic user back there, and maybe somebody, a couple of magic users. Who knows? It's very dynamic. It's very exciting, and interestingly, the art doesn't really fit any style I've seen before.
Mm-mm.
I mean, it's definitely not like a manga anime style,
No.
and it's not a fantasy style. It's just this artist's own unique thing. It's great. It's killer art. What else did you have to show up there a moment
Oh
ago?
yeah. So this is what it's a Kickstarter. So this is some of the
Yeah.
stuff you get.
Yeah. I mean, such a ton of things. All right. So let's take a look at what we have here. So this features, it's called Idols of the Neon Dark, and it features a quote neon fantasy world. And shout out to Neon Lords of the Toxic Wasteland. Hi, Brian. Neon is a hot thing these days, I guess. So it features a neon fantasy world where players take on the role of idols, K-pop idols. But in this world, the K-pop idols are magical warriors who use rhythm, style, and harmony to combat evil, as you do. And Scott says, cool dice. I can't quite see the dice, but they do look like they're probably pretty cool.
Yeah, they are kind of cool looking.
So this is set in a world called Lumenica, a radiant underground metropolis powered by music and harmony. Features several districts, from the blaring neon of downtown to the dangerous Shatterways. So it's a new. This is kind of cool. There's a new performance-based character class. Remember, this is all 5e. So they brought in a new character class focused it on cinematic combos and teamwork rather than traditional spellcasting.
Nice.
Cool.
Okay.
And it includes, I love this, Neon Sparks. And these are a collection of 20 plus, over 20 short adventures designed to be accessible for families, classrooms, and new players while remaining engaging for veterans. You've been doing stuff like this on the Patreon with
Hmm.
Top Secret.
Yeah.
And I noticed we didn't do the story this week, but I looked at this as a story. There's another group, uh, uh, Russ Morris. What is his name? Russell Morrissey or whatever from N World
Okay.
is doing a new Kickstarter. He's doing a whole bunch of very short fifth edition D&D adventures. The same kind.
Mhm.
I think people want to have this again. They want to have. They don't want to buy $50 books that they're going to take 5 years to get through. And
Mhm.
so it's cool that here they're doing Neon Sparks. Love it.
Yeah, and one of the things that I found, again, I hadn't run a campaign in some time, and I did one a little ways back. And one of the things that I found, trying to save time, is I would grab one of my, older modules and try and use it. And it was very hard to work the players into it because where they were and what they were doing just didn't fit the premise of like why they're supposed to be into this adventure. So I
Hmm.
would have to like jump through hoops to get them in there to do this thing, or just not use it at all because I was like I can't find a plausible reason to bring them in because it was too structured.
Yeah.
And that's not a bad thing. I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm just saying that it was too structured for me to be able to do that
Yeah.
with my campaign.
I mean, this is very OSR. This is very the original spirit of things, which is get together with your friends, have some fun this weekend. Does everything have to be an epic campaign that lasts for the a quarter of your natural lifespan? Go in there and have some fun. So, oh yeah, Mike Pickett here says if this game incorporates karaoke, then I'm in. Maybe,
It might.
maybe I don't
Why can't
know.
it?
Why? I mean, it's performance based, so I think you could probably work that in pretty well.
Yeah.
So it's cool. So they've been doing great on Kickstarter. They have over 1,000 backers. I'll mention the amount they've raised, but I always like to look at the number of backers first because that's what really matters.
Yeah.
Raising a lot of money is great, but having a lot of people involved is what really matters. So they've had over 1,000 backers, and hold on, Franklin, don't play with electricity. Come here. I have a curious kitty who wants to play with things. Okay. Um, he's fine. He stopped. They have raised over $130,000. Wonderful. That is a
Mhm.
beautiful number to see. And it says here they worked with Korean cultural consultants to make sure they got the K-pop and cultural themes right. So I guess this is not a group of K-pop folks from Korea doing it.
Right.
It's a group of K-pop fans, and huge props to them to make sure they worked with a cultural consultant because there's nothing worse than finding something that is like about a thing you're really into, and then you go and they got it all wrong.
Yeah.
You know, like
Yeah.
I'm always running into that when somebody does something like this is set in the 80s. I'm like, you never met anybody from the 80s, have you? You know?
Hmm.
So this is set in the K-pop world. Well, good. They worked with the right people, get it right. Cool. So it's got a 250-page PDF and book, digital battle map, STL miniatures. There's a premium hardback with foil embossing, all the usual cool stuff. It looks like a ton of fun. 5e compatible. I love to see it. Love to see people finding ways to take Dungeons and Dragons in completely different directions. I'm going to be a backer on this one. It looks like a lot of fun.
That's cool. Yeah, I just want to say one thing real quick. Talking about the cultural things. So I went to a concert with my daughter. I took my daughter to see this group called ITZY, which is a K-pop band,
Right. She
and
loves that, right?
yeah, she does. And the whole thing about the teamwork, their
Mm-hmm.
ability, their abilities working together in teamwork, that is a humongous thing in K-pop. They talk about that.
Oh.
They did this really interesting thing. The concert was about two-thirds of the way finished, and they stopped the whole concert and they sat there and they talked to the audience, and then they had the camera would pan on people in the audience, and the people would dance to the dance that was in the video on the screen, like the
Oh, no
official
way.
video. Yeah, and there was this real sense of community, like this really, really strong sense of community that they build.
That
So
is
that
so fun.
that was cool. And then they also had they do this in every town, apparently, everywhere they go, that the fans in that area that are going to be at that venue put
Hmm.
together a thank you video, and they show it on the screen in front of
Oh,
everybody.
that's so
So,
cool.
so they build this really powerful community. So I'm sure that that's where that's coming from.
Now that you mention that, if you've ever been in a crowd where everybody's doing a thing, like if you're at a football match and everybody's doing a chant,
Hmm.
like if you ever been to a football match in Europe or in the UK or in South America when the chants
No,
are happening,
no, I have not.
um, well, for that matter, just being at a stadium show where everybody's like, doing the singing along to the same song,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
there is some primal thing in us that touches when you're in a crowd of tens of thousands of people and you're all doing something together.
Yeah.
It's weird how fulfilling that is and how happy that makes you.
I mean, that's how we evolved to become the top thing on the planet.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I was watching a film that was made in the 60s where somebody had filmed different groups of warriors in a part of the world that was very untouched by
Hmm.
modern society. And you got to kind of see how people might have interacted 20,000 years ago or
Hmm.
something. And the way that each group of warriors before they went into the battle, it was almost like a ritual battle. It really was not so much about trying to actually kill people. It was more about trying to like, save face for your group. And each one was doing these dances and it was all together and they would kind of it was like football fans doing a chant, and they were doing the
Mm.
chant together. Then the other one would do their chant, and they would do their chant. They were trying to intimidate each other, and then they would come together and have the big battle. And happily, most of the battle involved stabbing somebody in the butt with a spear, and they run home, and you're like, I won. But
Well,
yeah, but it was just kind of neat to see that is such a built-in urge that we have to get together. Let's all do a chant together and show that we're part of the same gang.
yeah,
It's neat. It's really
yeah,
neat.
absolutely.
It's really
All
neat.
right, let's go to the last story.
All right. This is amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Now, remember I said before, returning back to a property that's, a zillion years old generally
What is this
doesn't work.
art that we're looking at?
I don't know, it's a picture I found of King Conan. I think it's somebody, it might be from a video game, but it's
Okay, but
at
it's
the,
definitely Arnold Schwarzenegger.
yeah, at the end of, I think at the end of Conan, I think there was a scene like this, or it was in some other cutaway or something, or some other thing I saw on TV once before. But I've seen this layout before,
Mhm.
years and years and
It's
years ago.
impressive. I mean, you
Yeah.
see Conan the King in his 70s, probably
Hmm.
looking like Arnold Schwarzenegger in his 70s if he had long hair. And, Arnold is still buff as hell,
Yeah, yeah. I
you
mean,
know,
the age is he's getting up there, but he's
but he's
78.
he's
78.
78 and
Yeah.
he looks amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the reason why I think this is going to be okay and that this will probably work is that he's not Conan, he's King Conan. This is something that Howard had written. I never read it, but I think
Right.
I'm pretty sure he wrote about King Conan. He's
Yeah.
in a different place in his life. He's not. We're not trying to return back to like, well, what happened with Conan? We know he becomes king and he's ruling the
Hmm.
land, and then of course there's conflict because you can't have a movie without conflict. Like, what would be the point? You
Right.
see him like walking around and going, "I'm going to have a drink now. Now I'm going to eat something." Yeah, so
Things are fine.
things are fine. Yeah. So he is returned to the role. Let's see, Christopher McQuarrie, I believe that's how you pronounce it.
Macquarie.
Did Mission Impossible, Top Gun, and
No.
he's
Top Gun Maverick.
Maverick.
Let's
Sorry,
be clear,
sorry,
not Top
sorry.
Gun.
Right, it's
Top
Top Gun Maverick.
But
He,
still, I mean, he knows what's up.
yeah, he worked on Valkyrie, Jack Reacher, Edge of
Oh,
Tomorrow. Not the good Jack
oh,
Reacher. Not the good
no,
Jack.
no, 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 no. But even look, Tom Cruise is a terrible Jack Reacher. Even
Yeah.
I love Tom Cruise as an actor, but
Oh,
he
he's a
can't
good
do
actor.
Reacher.
Yes, yes.
But the film was great. It's not the director's fault.
Right.
Yeah, no. I
So,
mean, so basically, this is the director who works with Tom Cruise.
yeah, so we're talking
Because
about
Valkyrie, Jack Reacher, Edge of Tomorrow, Top Gun Maverick, Mission Impossible.
yeah,
Okay.
good director.
Yeah.
Schwarzenegger, he announced the project at the Arnold, sorry, his own sports festival in Columbus, Ohio, which that's an interesting place to have it, but maybe that's something
Columbus,
to do.
you would be shocked how hip Columbus is.
Okay, I
It
would be.
really is. It's so Nationwide Insurance has their headquarters there. They're sort of the anchor business for the city, and it's drawn a lot of economic activity to there. It is a beautiful downtown. It's a place I would literally go to Columbus on a vacation. I
Nice.
honestly
Okay.
wouldn't. I'm not being silly.
So the story follows Conan after ruling as king for 40 years. He becomes complacent, is forced out of his kingdom, and must fight to reclaim his power. Interesting. All right. The tone
Nice.
described as large scale fantasy with magic creatures and major studio effects. So, could we be getting a really good fantasy movie? We talked before about how rare these are.
I mean, it is so hard to make a good fantasy movie. Everybody tries, everybody fails.
Yeah.
And I think if you polled a random selection of 100 fantasy movie fans, people who like fantasy movies, I think you would find almost universal agreement that the Conan the Barbarian movies are kind of the pinnacle of how you make a good fantasy movie.
Right. Yeah, I think so. I mean, even the second Conan wasn't great, but it's still fun. It was still okay. It wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't. I mean, look, I loved Beastmaster, but I was like 12 or 15 or
Well, look,
something
this
when I saw
happens
it.
with everything. The first Rambo was great. The first
Yeah.
Rocky was great. The first
Right.
Conan was great. It's hard to follow up. Let's just
Yeah.
focus on the first one they did great with.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. So Schwarzenegger is now 78. He was 35. I didn't realize he was that old. He was 35 when he did
Oh,
Conan
yeah.
in 1982. He said, but he did say the script will be age appropriate. So he is playing an old Conan.
Yeah.
And he's not. I mean, he's no like trying to like figure out how to make it work. He's like, no, he's an old Conan.
Yeah, and you know what? That really tracks with Arnold himself because one thing that's cool about Arnold Schwarzenegger is he's never tried to be younger than he is or different than he is. He's always just who he is, and that's I think super inspirational.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
So they tried before to make a King Conan in the 90s, and I think other attempts as well. There was a something called Legend of Conan in the 2010s. Um, Universal previously held rights considered an
I'm
Unforgiven
editorializing.
style older Conan,
Uh-huh.
written by
Uh-huh.
Chris Morgan, who did Fast and Furious, so it probably would have been terrible,
No.
right?
No. Look, Fast and the Furious is very popular and it's silly and it's funny in a Knight Rider kind of way.
Yeah.
But Chris Morgan is a hack.
Mm.
The movies are crap and he shouldn't be allowed near good things.
Right, right. So, 20th Century Studios has spent about a year securing the rights to move forward. So we're all good to
Nice.
go. Um, and there's talk. So before we wrap this up, there is talk of a possible return to
Yeah.
Predator.
No.
Right.
No, don't do that. Don't do that, guys. We do
Although I
there
will hold on, but I will say this: they're talking about doing it with the guy who did Prey and Predator Badlands, and both of them were really good.
okay, if the predator creature is also 80 years old.
Oh, that would be awesome! Can you
It would be
imagine?
great if he's like, I can't really, my eyesight, the predator vision, it don't work so good anymore.
Well, it could be. You could.
Do you remember how things were better in the old days? I could see all of you through the little green dots on my screen. It was so nice. So now I look at you. What are you playing with the TikTok? Come on.
It would be cool if it was an old predator who was like trying to still prove himself or something, And
Or
he's
if they
like,
just were like hanging out at the barber shop together instead. Talking
just
about
get
how all these alien kids are crap these days.
right. Aliens these days.
And again, so what's this other one? A script exists for Commando 2,
Please
which would bring. Don't
don't
do it. Don't
don't
do
do
it,
it.
guys. Don't do it. Don't do it. But do this.
Yes,
Conan the
please.
King.
Yes.
That's great. It makes me want to go read some Conan right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was a moment for fantasy, and that is right in the smack dab in the middle of it. And I'm very excited about this.
Scott says, "Come to Columbus for Origins."
Yeah.
And Mike Pickett, man, this is a good question. What do you guys suggest as a way to find a group to try new systems? He says, "I can always
Oh,
find
jeez.
D&D to play, but some systems like Top Secret, I feel can only be played at a con. I would love to hear your thoughts."
I'd love to hear somebody's thoughts too, because
Yeah.
it's hard. All right, here's the thing. It when you start playing tabletop role playing games, for most people, generalizing here, you're either in high school or college,
Mhm.
or maybe you're in the military. But the important thing is you're somewhere where you're kind of trapped with a lot of other people your age, and you're kind of looking for something to do. So if you're in high school, or if you live in the dorms, or you're in the barracks, or you know what, if you're in prison, I don't know. The point is, if you're somewhere that you've got a lot of people that are more or less a captive audience, you have things to do, then yeah, your odds of saying, you guys, this week, let's try something different, yeah, pretty good. But then when you're in this world of adulthood, where even if you know a bunch of people in your town, people have children, people have jobs, people
Mhm.
have, oh my gosh, so many things they have to do.
Right.
How do you get them together at all? So, how do you find a group to try new systems? I think the this is going to be my off the top of my head answer, but one thing that has been a great development over the past decade is the proliferation of game cafes, board game
Mm.
cafes.
Yeah, like the one you just went to.
Well, that was the other side, and board game stores that are more focused on playing in the store. Because in
Right.
the 80s and the 90s, if you went to a FLGS, your friendly local game store, you went there because you needed to buy games, because that's the only way you could buy them, unless you wanted to write a check and put it in the mail and send it to somebody in the back of Dragon magazine. Most people would say, I'm going to the game store. And so the game stores back then were just focused on selling you the games. And then everything happened. We're in the world of Amazon and roll20.com and all these other things. And the game stores realized they weren't relevant anymore because they couldn't compete with Amazon for price, and they couldn't compete with Roll20 for convenience, etc. So most game stores have done a nice pivot to in-store events and games and happenings.
Mhm.
So my best advice would be go to that game store or to that board game cafe, find out when there's going to be maybe open tables, stuff like that. Stick a flyer up and say, I'm going to be running this game. Come down and play. There's a good chance. I know here in Connecticut, the game store near me is Elm City Games in New Haven. And there's a Discord just for Elm City Games where people can go on and get to know each other and say who wants to join me for a game. So that would be my best advice is find out if there is a place like that within driving distance for you. And especially if they have a Discord, and just start talking to people on there and say who wants to do a one shot. And then if they like the one shot, do a two shot. And if they like the
Mhm.
two shot, do a campaign.
Yeah. I mean, I'll tell you that one of the things you could do is if you live anywhere near Smith College, I mean, you could come to this thing called ModCon and maybe
Mm-hmm.
meet somebody who lives in the area and start up a new game group. I mean, what do
Yeah.
you think?
There's the way to do it. And I mean, this is crazy. That's the thing is if there's a college town near you, you're in good shape. And
Yeah, you're in good shape. Yeah.
that's why I love living in New England because there's college towns you can't swing a bat without hitting a college town. And the Northampton area is one of the best. Yeah, that's why we're doing our convention there. And then later in the year in October there will be Arcane Con. It's just a good scene. So, find those scenes.
Yeah, I'm actually so my friend Will, he comes up with the Total Con now. He's got, he's younger than me. He's a good 18 years younger than me. And I met him through work. He games with us, but he also has another group that he games with. He has his group that he games with.
Hmm.
And so I actually just started, I sat in on one of their games. They only play every like 2 or 3 week, like 2 weeks
Yeah.
currently. Um, and they play like on Wednesday nights for like 4 hours. So I was like, yeah, I can squeeze that in. And we're playing this game called Cosmere, which is like a
Oh
version of D
yeah,
and
yeah,
D.
yeah. You put that on the Solarian
Yeah,
site.
so I'm it's cool for me to check that out. I mean, normally I wouldn't have done that like on my own. I wouldn't have gone, oh, I want to play this game Cosmere, but he invited me to come. It looks interesting, and I haven't played a D&D type game in forever, so I was like, sure, let's do it.
Yeah. All right. So hey, Mike likes the suggestions, so we did a good job. I made up some bull crap and it was true.
You still me.
Anyways, those are some good stories. We've told you stories. Let's wrap it up for the night.
Yep.
As we said, ModCon's coming up. By the way, there is a thing that we are a part of called the Analog Union. So I think most people know about it, but if you go to analogunion.com, you will see that you can put your email address in and you can get a newsletter every week that comes from not just us, but from about 10 different independent indie publishing houses. And it's full of neat ideas for gaming, stuff that's going on, happenings, things that are coming out. Go sign up and get that newsletter for free. It's a lot of fun. It's a great way to stay in touch with us. And we'd love to see you there as well. So give
Yeah.
that a shot.
Yeah. Yeah. Sometimes you get free stuff. I mean, it depends.
Sometimes,
Yeah.
sometimes,
And it's not always not everybody just pimps their own stuff. There are quite a few guys from time to time will say, hey, I don't have anything to pimp on my own, but I do have this other cool thing that I found.
Oh
Check
yeah,
this
I mean,
out.
you can go and you can look and see past newsletters to get a feel for what kind of stuff's been there before. I know like Brian Larkin, we mentioned Arcane Con. He's running. He's the runner of that, the guy who's in charge of it. He's been putting up these fun reviews of old gaming mags every week. Discovering new stuff. Joey Royale from Get Haunted Industries, Weird Heroes of Fairhaven, public access. Has been putting up a lot of interesting things, finding other stuff. Justin Soroy's of Severed Books has been putting some cool stuff up. We got Hambone. I'm about to start just naming names, so I'm going to stop. But the point is, it's a lot of fun. AnalogUnion.com. So we got lots of irons in the fire, but it all comes back to us eventually around Solarian Games. So come to ModCon, sign up for Analog Union newsletters, have fun with that. And if you are a Patreon supporter of ours at any paid level, we also are going to be over in the Discord after this. So you
Mhm.
can come and hang out with us there. So if you are a Patreon supporter who has access to the Discord, come and see us in a few minutes there and drop us a line. Tell us stuff you want us to show on the show. And we will see you again next week.
See you then.